Hello YouTube, it is Hunter Surge here with the final day of Elestrals reveals for Moonrise. These are the last ones. We're talking about the 4 solar cards that we have left to see. There's some runes potentially and a bunch of full art stuff and stuff like that to go over after this. But we're done with Elestrals as of today. So let's get into it. So first up we have Armadon. This is one that we've been waiting for a while because we saw its stat line in the Kickstarter trailer video for Elestrals Clash. This is a 1/6 1 Solar Spirit Elestral. When it changes position, an opponent must expend a spirit. So this is very, very nice because it's like, okay, so this starts as a 1/6. You put in defense. When your opponent eddies or mothers it to attack position, you then force them to burn 1. And then if, say, you tsunami it back to defense, or use something else for it to survive, and then switch it back to defense on your turn, you burn them for 1 again. So that's actually pretty nice. It's a very nice upside for that specific stat line. You can also, like, if you are running like one of those 5s solar lists that run Galaxy because it's searchable, because it's just good, and because it's also searchable by Exaltus, you can misenchant this with water and just make it a 6/1, which is also pretty cool. So there's some I think there's some solid stuff with this Elestral. This will probably find a place somewhere. Yeah, it seems pretty solid. Moving on from that, we have its Ascension, Gardon. I'm not so high on this one, though. This is a 3/8 2 Solar Spirit Elestral. Your Elestrals get +2 defense. Of note, if this was, for example, if it had like 2 solars and a water on it, and it was getting swapped by Galaxy, this would be an 8/5 because of how no, it would be forget what I said. I confused how stat swaps happen again. I thought they worked the way that they should. Yeah, this would be a 10/3 if it was stat swapped while still having its effect. But its actual effect is when an opponent activates an effect that targets 1 or more of your runes, you can expend 2 solar in order to negate that effect. I don't think this card is very good. So, like, of course, going into this format, one of the strongest forms of back removal is going to be Hurricane. And Hurricane does not target. Also, if it's ever relevant, Bandaloon also does not target. Is one big upside of the card, and that makes it work well against multiple sets. And just overall, like, on an Ascension with a stat line that is this passive, you would expect an effect like that to only require you to expend 1, but it requires you to expend 2. It's actually very frustrating that this expends 2, because it's already a tall ask to get this on the board to begin with, because it's going to be completely passive. And then you have to expend 2 to do this effect, and it's like, that's not very good. Yeah, I don't see any world where this card is like any good at all. Yeah, I just do not see it with this card. We have another Ascension line, though. We have a Solar Nexus of Aeromare. Now, it's important to note that on pure stat line, Aeromare is like very much a solar card in the same way that Galaxy is a solar card, in that it's an ethereal, so it can be searched by Exaltus, and it already has that 4/5 stat line. So if that was enough, I think we would already be playing it. Luxomare doesn't do anything on its own. When an opponent takes control of this Luxomare, you can special cast an Aeosdale from your hand or deck. We're going to talk about the combo that allows you to pull this off. I do not think that combo is very good for reasons we will talk about, and for anyone who's really familiar with the weaknesses of Rune Inferno Sect, they will be very familiar to you. But this card is, I don't know, man. So, like, the only upside this realistically has over Aeromare, because, like, this combo line, as we're going to get into, is not good. If you're running this, you are running it for its stats. You are running it as a vanilla. Therefore, the only thing it has over Aeromare, which solar lists are not running right now, is the fact that when you see it off of Apollo, you can add to hand. And you can also stack it with First Light, I guess. But those are the only things. Those are very minor upsides, all things considered. I think if this stat line was enough, you would already be seeing experimentation with Aramir, and you're not. So I don't think this card is any good. I don't think this card is going to be played. I just don't think it's good enough. Especially with the much better offensive stat lines we're seeing in Solar in this very set. Like, would rather do like First Light special ascension stuff with Kokore than I would with doing whatever with this. Like, sure, yeah, you make Eddie crash, whatever. Doesn't really matter. That's not good enough. That is not enough of an upside. Like, if that was enough of an upside, cool, we just run Havoc Cup. We just run Havoc Cup and everything, but we're not going to be doing that. Yeah. Okay. Then we have an Invoke Rune. This is number 92. This is the Invoke Rune slot that was between Helios' Slumber and Aurora Borealis, which probably means no more Frost Runes this set. We'll talk about what that could potentially mean at the end here. So Cunning Offer is an Invoke Rune, 1 Solar. Until the end phase, an opponent takes control of target Celestial on your field, and that Celestial gains the effect. When this Celestial is destroyed in battle, you must expend 3 spirits. Now on face, it's like, oh, that's a really cool combo. You get your special send, do whatever, and also you take out the Luxomare you gave them and you burn them for 3. Wow, that's pretty cool. But it's actually really, really bad. So something you might not be aware of, and a line that you'll see better players do against Rhinosect quite a bit, is that, okay, I go for Rhinosect. My opponent has like any back row, any chainable back row. I put my Rhinymph onto their guy. Okay, they now go flip over their counter rune, cast it using the effect, using the spirits that are on the Rhinymph. At least one of them. Even Misenchanting Tsunami to do this. Like, it's worth it in that context. However, Rhinymph Rhinosect still comes out of this being pretty good, because Rhinymph Rhinosect has the option of empowering your own guy, so you can still special cast the Rhinosect and get your body, and then you pay off the Rhinymph with the Ambrosia or whatever and get some value off of it. Alternatively, you can take advantage of this counterplay to go, I don't even have a Rhinosect, but I know that this player is smart enough that they're going to want me to stop me from getting the huge value play from Rhinosect, and they don't know that I don't have Rhinosect. So I'm going to cast out Rhinymph, empower it to their thing, and that will cause them to lose an Elestral and a back row, which can be very, very valuable. So despite having this interaction working against it, Rhinymph Rhinosect still comes out being a solid combo, because there are these ways that you can take advantage of it or play around it and still get value out of the combo regardless. Cunning Offer, this does not apply to, because for one, when they're doing that with Rhinymph, they are destroying their own Elestral first, and 2, they are paying off a spirit that they put onto the field. You have given them a free spirit with which to play this card and stop your play. Like, it's really bad. Like, it's only going to be any good if your opponent has literally 0 chainable back row. None. 0. And they still have their guy. They still have an actual bind on the board, even if it goes through. You haven't, like, 1 board advantage even when this works. It's not, maybe you like Chariot Ride to do stuff, but like, oh no, this is really not good. This is real bad. This is really, really bad. However, I do think the Ascension Aosdale is actually a pretty decent card. So this is Aosdale. So Aosdale is a 6/6 2 Solar Spirit Elestral. When you cast this Aosdale, you can foretell 3. you may special cast a 1 spirit Solar Elestral foretold this way. So this is just raw card advantage. You hit a Solar Elestral off that top 3, and you get card advantage. That's pretty solid. That's pretty decent. However, Solar has a lot of pretty decent normal ascends. You have like almost everything that is in the middle stages from Daybreak is like a decent normal ascend. Like let's go over it real quick. Let's review. Nova Core is probably the weakest thing of those normal ascends. Fellow Pharaohs is like pretty decent. It's a 6/7 and can pop back row. Ruminous isn't very good, of course. Soul Stalks is solid in cows, of course. Though ideally you would ascend into it. Heliolyth is a non-targeting bounce. Always been pretty solid. And of course there's Sustrigan. Pretty crazy card. Then in this set, we add on to that, Draco Ray is a crazy card. It's when you normal ascend it, you just get to Ambrosia. And then on the next turn, you get to threaten going into Dragalus, going into a 13 attack body. Like for normal ascends, there's a lot of really stiff competition as is. So like despite Aylesdale like reading as like a pretty solid card, I don't think it ends up getting there despite that. Okay, so that's it for the new cards. Armadon is like pretty solid, pretty good stuff. Now, let's talk about some implications here. So these new cards are in these slots 70 through 73, as we expected. And the new Rune is a 92. However, as we went over in a previous video, 94 to 96 are the pre-full art slots. They should be. We have seen an image of the box topper of Volclips that puts it at number 118. So that should be these 3, I believe. It's weird that we have 7 cards that come after that, but we'll figure out what's going on with that later. We can figure that out at a later date. Actually, I believe those are reverse stellars. Yeah, 104, 109 were reverse stellars here. And where do these end? Farragut is 103. Okay. So that just means that we have assuming that 118 is where the box upper FAs start, that means we have 7 reverse stellars. That is all that means. Okay. Have we actually seen any of the reverse stellars? I don't think we have. I think they would have been updated there by now if we had. Okay. So, what does that mean for 94 to 96? Because, as we went over in a previous video, number 97 is full art Phasmacore. Generally speaking, the full art card numbers follow the ordering from the main set. But the only Ascension lines before Phasmacore are the 3 that are getting box topper FAs. There's a possibility that one of these gets an additional box topper, an additional full art, like Celestleo did. But it seems very unlikely to me that multiple of them do, especially not all 3. So that would mean that 2 to 3 of these cards in slots 94 to 96 are new cards. Now, the pattern we are seeing with the Rune ordering in this set is that we go featured element first, so that's Lunar. Then we go all the Omnis. Like, basically, the Invokes and Counters have been mixed together. And they go in element order. So they go Omni, then Earth, then Water, then Thunder, then Wind, then Frost, which is why we flip it back and forth between Invoke and Counter. And then we have Solar Invoke here, and then Solar Counter here. So what could these 3 be? Maybe Stadiums? Stadiums is a possibility. Stadiums would be really nice. Like, if these 3 are, like, all archetypal Stadiums, that would be really cool. That would be super cool. Like, one of them would be an Insectoid Stadium, would be huge for the deck. I've been on that cope for weeks at this point. I really want there to be a Stadium for Insectoids, because, like, a bunch of those Insectoids can pay off from an Insectoid Stadium. So it would be a really, really huge deal, especially if it has a way to re-enchant to itself. so you can pay off it without for like the one cost in the Aardvarm line, within the Antitan line, without actually having to lose a card on field. Similarly, Ant Titan, I believe, can discard Insectoid. Yeah, can discard Insectoid cards, and Aardvarm can search for Insectoid cards. So all of these have an interaction in some way with a non-Elestral Insectoid that would be very handy to have a Insectoid Stadium for. Just in general, it'd be really cool to see some more archetypal stadiums. Because like right now, stadium design has been fairly boring. They're useful, but pretty boring. It would be cool if we saw something for the lunar phases in there. That would be really cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. Maybe something for the mill archetype would be cool too. Like there's a lot of stuff that you could do with a potential stadium. Maybe something like fairly generic, like something that's like discard a card, draw a card once per turn, and both players get access to it. That would be really nice for like any like graveyard caring about strategies. Like that would be really great for strategies based on Starbit Supernova, because it would give you a really easy way to get Supernovas out of your hand. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that those could be if those are stadiums. I would really hope it's stadiums. I don't think it's very likely for them to be artifacts, because generally speaking, in previous set, artifacts come before invokes encounters, but stadiums come after. It would still require stadiums to break like the by element rule, but you know, card ordering in this game is the card ordering in this game is just really strange, and it's been changing set to set. But we do still see stadiums coming last in the lunars. Temple of the Moon is the very last lunar rune in the order, and artifacts come before any of the invoke and counter runes. So if it's a different rune type, counter rune seems the most like the stadium rune seems the most likely. Another possibility I'm thinking about is, what if they're like normal rarity reprints of some of the starter deck exclusives? That would be really cool. I wouldn't be too surprised to see them go, okay, because these are reprints, these are going to come at the end of the set. Yeah. In Frostfall, we saw the reprinted stadiums come last, though that was also a case of those being stadiums, which, as far as we can tell, come last in the order. However, if we look at that, where are you? If we look at that, Ursaden comes before all of them, despite being a fire card that would, assumedly, going based on element order, come after Full Life Force, and either before Volcanic Forge or after Volcanic Forge. Like its text box is primarily in the fire colors, so it would be as far as we've seen with how card ordering goes in the past, it would be considered a fire card for those purposes. So that might imply that reprints, when they're not tied to the Ascension, a new Ascension guy, would come last. So that could mean that that could mean that these three slots are, say, Laurels, Gorgon's Gaze, and Poison Tipped Arrows, which would be really cool. I would really love to see that. As much as I want some archetypal stadiums, and especially one for Insectoids, I would take that over such stadiums every day of the week. That would be so good to see. I would love that a lot. But yeah, we'll see. I'm very curious about what those are. These videos will probably be finishing up very soon, because like once we know what these three are, we know every new card in the set. Everything that's going to be coming out from that point is going to be like full arts, sellers, alternate art, stuff like that, and then the deck lists for the starter decks. So I will almost definitely not be making videos on those subjects, because they're not new cards. It's not really card design to talk about. Whenever I'm talking about art, like, I'm just talking about them very briefly. I might do a video towards the end of the season talking about all those full arts and stuff, but after we get these three new cards, probably tomorrow, we will be done with these videos, and we will be moving back to other types of content on the channel. including I am planning on, with the help of some of my locals, starting to recording a bunch of proxy games with new decks. Hopefully putting up something new for you to look at every week. So look forward to that. With that said, this is Higher Surge, signing off.